I'd like to do is I'd like to spend some time, as long as you like really, to talk to you about tourism review and look around into some of the, excuse me, I'd like to talk to you about tourism review and to make sure that you understand how and what we're looking and how you can be successful. Only 10%, 10 to 12% of the papers that are submitted to tourism review get published. So the reason that a lot of the articles are not published is not that we don't want to get published. It's because they are not ready to get published. So I really want you to understand what's the game. Who has published in tourism review? Vanda, who is published in tourism review? You're supposed to say, yes, me.
Yes, Professor.
Thank you so much. Who else has published in tourism review? I know that Vanda has published. No, okay, that's fine. Good. I'm going to take you through a few statistics, few things, and then we're going to open an open discussion. I'll be here all evening, so if you've got a paper, you'd like to talk to me one way or another, whatever, please talk to me. Okay, so. Okay, this is the marketing again. You remember the marketing. You're going to buy the newspaper, the journal. You're going to come to Malta. A little bit of more details about Malta. Tourism Review. Tourism Review is the oldest and the most established journal in tourism. It started in 1946. It started by some very clever people in Switzerland in 1946, just after the Second World War. It started as a trilingual journal. That's why it has got the title Tourism Review, because it was translated in German and in French and in English. Obviously, I'm not that old, so I got involved with this at the end of 2016, and you see what happened. Currently, we've got a very international global editorial board. I changed it 2 years ago. And we always keep changing the editorial board, but normally for a couple of years. I like people to stay for a couple of years, and then we see how they perform. Sometimes I give them promotion, sometimes I take them out of the game. But now we've got a very stable and very good team that is supporting us. The beautiful thing of Tourism Review is that it's a generic journal. Effectively, anything that has got to do with tourism, we are publishing. Occasionally we publish papers that have got hospitality involved with that on the title, like distribution of hospitality, that's tourism. But if it's hotel operations, if it's something like very hospitality, and if it fits better in the International Journal of Contemporary Hospitality Management, my friend Fevzi Okomus is a better outcome to say that. We work very closely with the guys. But this is a very long list, and actually it can be much more exhaustive. Anything to do with tourism, we publish it if it's good, including over tourism. But we fight with that. We don't publish easily. So I'll give you some numbers so you can understand what has happened with the journal. So Scopus, you'll see that in a minute. Impact factor Clarivet is 7,689, and you see a little bit of analysis. So this is what I'm most proud of. This is Clarivet citations, impact factor, right? So when I started end of 2016. If you see here it says citations. In 2015, you got 1 citation. In 2016, you got 17. I'll look into my screen because it's better, I cannot read it there. So you can see, so the line is the citations, the blue bars is the articles that we publish. So it used to publish about 20-25 papers per year. Now we're consistent and stable on 80. With the exception in 2020, which was 75 years since the journal started. So we published a very special issue with 75 articles of a good and a great, the top people around. And so that's why it has got a blip like this. Now in 2022, so far it has got 2,683 citations, the red bar there. So you can see from one citation in 2015 to 2,683 in 2022. Typically, the space is taken very quickly, so 2023 we're fully booked, half of 2024 is fully booked, and now to accommodate more papers, from 2024 we'll publish 90 papers, not 80, and we'll start publishing nine issues per year rather than 6, so we can have a more regular kind of thing. In December 2018, 2 years after I started, in December 2018, 2 years after we started, we became an SSCI journal, and that was a game changer because a lot of people are targeting SSCI journals, and the visibility was much more, and you can see what happened after that. And it happened that we had the 75 years, and a lot of people were publishing on that. So this is I'm most proud of. It happened 2 nights ago. A friend of mine sent me the Scopus site score, the new one, went to 12.8, and already has got for 2023 11.2. I don't know if you are familiar with these metrics. Basically, it says that between 2019 and 2022, it got 4,359 citations for the 340 documents that we did. So now we're getting to a situation where it is the latest part of the articles that we're publishing, and therefore we get a latest kind of rankings. In terms of ranking in geography, planning and development, Tourism Review is 11th out of 779 journals. 11th. In business management and accounting for tourism, leisure and hospitality management, it is 13 out of 141. Now, is it important to see impact factors and things? It is. The more you're going towards Asia, if you go to China, and if you go in Asia, everybody's crazy about impact factors, and they get incentives. The highest the impact factor, the more incentive you get. You get paid by the government to publish in higher impact journals. Higher impact journals tend to be better and to be more selective. Now, it's not a direct relationship, but if impact means that you've got an impact, so people are reading you, right? They are using you, they are citing you. That's why you've got a higher impact. So it can only be a good thing. So you can see that we went from 2.1 site score in 2019, 4.5 the following year, 8.2, and now 12.8. You can see the growth of the journal. It's all Q1 now, and you can see how it's ranked in geography and how it's ranked in business, and you can see, all the difference here. And you can see the graphs. I love the graphs when they go like that. So enough with the numbers. You can see also what's happening every month. These are the reports I'm getting every month. So for me, it's I'm driving this. So it's like when you're driving and you see the dashboards. This is the information. So I'm giving you the confidential reports. I've said to the publisher, nothing is confidential. People should see everything so they understand what they are choosing. And you can see how it's growing in terms of how many people are downloading. The more people they download the papers, the more they read, the more they cite. So please make sure that your students read the journal, right? Do you read the journal yourselves? The answer is yes, otherwise I'll call security, okay? Please read the journal. You can see that China is the top country that is downloading. UK, Australia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, Germany, US, Thailand, Spain. It's also a factor of the how many people in the population. So Cyprus will always be a small country, so it will not appear there, but you can see always we've got some interesting things. Citations per year, you can see how they're growing. and we are looking constantly on what is being cited, what people want to read. It's almost like a supermarket, right? I'll publish things that people want to read. So what do people want to read? They really want to read latest information that they've got global kind of impact. You can see universities, you can see how many articles we publish per year, and where the top authorship is coming from. You can see China dominates, especially after 2019, as soon as we became an SSCI, the Chinese really talented us. So we get a lot of papers from China. We'd like to be balanced. We'd like to have content from everywhere, and we're not publishing content that's specifically about the place. We are publishing content that's primarily about theory. And you can see some of the top universities, which happen to be top universities, so Nankai, Sichuan, City University Macau, Hong Kong PolyU. These are the top universities by submissions and the top universities by accepted. China is actually submitting a lot of papers, but they are not as successful as some other countries. So you can see that University of Central Florida from Orlando is submitting 15 papers, but they get more acceptances during that period. Partly because they speak English, partly because they understand better how to do that. Now, there's a lot of pressure on everybody. And the more you go towards Asia, I'd like to publish 3 papers. Can I get 3 SSCI papers? You're asking them, what papers would you like to publish? I don't care, just get me 3 SSCI papers. I can graduate from my PhD, I can get a promotion, I can get my boss will like me, you know, my wife, my husband will like me, everybody will be fine. So they don't care so much. My preoccupation is to find the bright, the clever, the interesting ideas that nobody else is doing. So between this and this, there's a gap. The more people understand what I'm looking for, and all the editors, and to be perfectly honest, all the editors, and especially right now in tourism, all of the tourism editors in tourism hospitality, they're good friends. We talk to each other, we compete badly. What happens sometimes, you know, a paper goes to tourist management, gets rejected, comes to me. I'm on the editorial board of tourist management. I've reviewed that already. So it comes to me as a second round. If I've rejected already, I'll reject it quickly again, and we'll go like that. So a lot of authors do not understand that we work together. And we work together because we're friends, and we're all in this business because we really like science, and we really like to see what's happening next. So what makes a good paper? It's a paper that is bringing theory out, and it's followed by implications for research and practice. By the way, some of these slides, I don't remember which ones, they've been produced in the beginning by Felsi Okomus, and now we're using his, using mine, I'm using his. Your paper should start with a literature review, and the literature review should be up to date. If you're telling me literature review that's 10 years, 15 years ago, it means that you do not know what's happening. So it's not new, I'm not going to publish it. I need to focus on the theoretical contribution of the theoretical models. The paper should clarify research objectives and gaps and address them throughout. And needs to be consistent. If you say, I'm going to do this research objective, what I'm going to get on the findings is the outcome of what you told me that you're going to be in. You know, it's simple, but you'll be surprised what we see every day. The paper should demonstrate originality and novelty. If it's not new, I'm not going to buy it. Okay? I'm not going to publish something that's not new, because nobody would like to read it. Okay, so I've got a limited space on my shelves. Up to now I had 80 papers, now I'm going to have 90. I receive about 800 and I publish about 10%, 10 to 12%. If something in tourism review is super efficient, if you get the desk rejection, you get the desk rejection normally within 3 days. Someone got the desk rejection last week in 6 minutes. Because I was about to get on a plane and I really want to get it out of the way, and you know, if it doesn't have legs, I'm not gonna let you wait for 6 months or 6 weeks to tell you that it doesn't have legs. I can tell you instantly if it has got legs or not. I know that the author was not very happy, but actually in 6 minutes I made a decision and I explained why. Okay. Equally, I've published a paper on ChatGPT by Stan Ivanov in less than 15 days. The whole process of reviewing 2 rounds, we did it in 15 days. You are leaving us. Goodbye.
So we have to examine the
Okay.
student.
Goodbye. See you later.
See you later.
What we try to do, and I understand exactly how complicated it is, and I understand exactly what it means for someone to publish. You don't publish because of fun. I publish because of fun. You're publishing because you would like to get your PhD, you get your first job, your promotion, your career progression, and all the rest of it. The worst thing can ever happen to anybody is to wait for 8 months, 9 months to get the decision. It has happened to you, it's still happening to me. And I'm going back to the editor and saying, "Oi, mate, is anybody home? Did you close the place and you went home? Wake up." Okay, normally 32 days you get the decision from us. If you survive, 65% die immediately, 35% are going to reviewing, 32 days later, 34 days, you get an answer. But I'm dependent on the reviewers. So if the reviewer is taking 2 months, I cannot do 32 days. The question is, are you a reviewer yourself? So you really need to volunteer and review papers. I've got a policy, if you don't review or if you consistently rejecting to review, I'm rejecting your papers. Simple. Whoever is publishing gets about 12 free reviews, between 12 and 15, because we're going to R3, so it goes around. So you get 15 people, or 3 people reviewing 3 times, so you get 12 to 15 reviews. I'm expecting that you're going to put something back in the system. If you're a free rider, you're not going to come in my journal. Okay? So if you're not publishing, if you're not reviewing, come forward, send me an email and say, "I'd like to be a reviewer in my areas a lot." And when I send you an invitation to review, please review, and review quickly. Don't tell me I'm busy. It's quite funny, people are telling me I'm busy. You know, in the hotel next door, they haven't done social media for a while. And I said, "Why?" Because they said, "I'm busy." So I started doing the social media from next door. I said, "For the next 3 days, I'll do it myself. After that, you need to sort out yourselves." Okay. The more you understand what the target is, the more successful you are. I think a lot of people are missing the opportunity to understand what is the target. Okay. So, normally, if you wanted that, here you go, Mr. Stavrinudis. Here is the target. I'll give you a smile as well.
No, it's not.
Okay, you don't want me.
You're not.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll do best by next.
So, there is a text that goes with all the desk rejections that says, in order to improve your chances, you need to answer these questions. What's the original contribution of the paper? What's the new knowledge and contribution to theory? How does it progress existing global knowledge? If you tell me too, I've done social media in hotels and I've done another social media or sustainability, you know, it's very difficult for someone to talk to me about sustainability and tell me something new, right? It's reduce and reuse and recycling, you know. Some people are doing, they've got the syndrome, I call it the village of my mother. Yes, it's very important. And in Mallorca, in Adrax, I'm going to tell you everything. Okay, you can publish it in the Adrax journal of whatever, you know, the local newspaper. Chinese are like that. In Guilin is like that, in Dalian like that, in that. And there's a text that says, how does it justify to be in Brazil, in Germany, in Greece, in different places? Who will use this paper and this research? Is anybody going to read it? if you have studied in one context, location or industry, how can this paper benefit other locations? I've done the research in Mallorca, which is about the power of tour operators, but actually the people in Malta, in Greece, in Spain, because it's actually, I'm not looking to Mallorca, but I'm looking in the context of Mallorca, but I'm looking at the phenomenon of power and things like that. Are the results clearly articulated? Is the paper significant and for whom? What will be the impact of the paper to academic research and industry? Why someone would recommend this paper to students or colleagues? Feel free to ask me anything you like. I'm here to answer any question. Okay, I'm going to give you the straight answer, the quick answer, the only answer. So I'm getting every month, I'm getting this kind of reports, and I'm looking to who is flying, what do people want to read, who is downloading what, and who is citing what. And I'm looking into things about how fast they're doing it, recency, but also long term. There are papers out there that they've got 15,000, I cannot see either here or there. There are papers out there that they've got 15,000 citations. Metin Kozak sent the COVID paper very early, it has got 4,396 citations. If you send me a COVID paper right now, it will be rejected in 2 minutes. Goodbye, thank you. Okay. Simple, yeah? You'd be surprised how many COVID papers I get every day. Okay. So at that time that this report is looking at, COVID was very important. Everybody was writing about COVID, and this was it. I've written no papers on COVID. Now I'm writing papers about what happened during COVID, and partly why I didn't do it myself was that people were looking into the impact of COVID while COVID was still going. We had no idea what was going to happen. But now I'm looking to the refund policies, or what airlines did, and they were not paying people back. So the emphasis is not on COVID, it's on the refund, it's the customer share, it's the incivility, it's engagement, it's different things, okay? So, I want the golden egg. If you have got the golden egg, I'd like to publish it. If it's confused, if you don't know what you're doing, if thousands of other people have done it, it's not golden, it's one of the other ones. I only publish 10%, 1 in 10. Sorry. Okay. So, quite often people do not read the, so I'm looking to the citation list, you know, the bibliography. They've never read any paper from Tourism Review. So, do you know what's the discussion in Tourism Review? You look at the citations, and the latest citation they had was 2015. Like nothing happened since then. Is it current? Of course it's not, right? Do you know the latest papers? Do you discuss the papers that are published? Do you reference the papers published? Do you review for the journal? I'm afraid there is not an easy solution. A lot of people are trying for the rapid publication. They even pay open access, whatever, to get the publication done. I mean, these guys, I mean, how many papers did sustainability publish last year? Do you know? Any number. Can you give me a number? How many papers did sustainability publish last year? Please don't Google it. Think about it.
More than 3,000 the first 2 months of the year, if I...
Okay, you can do the calculation. 22,000. Please tell me the 22,000 papers that sustainability published was worth publishing. I only publish 80. I'm a small, good supermarket, okay? So I really want to show you some of the things that you don't see. I really want to show you some of the things that you do not see. I'll show you some confidential things because you don't see my system, okay? And I'll show you what all the editors are doing. What's the process? How they write brilliant papers? What's the refereeing process? Dealing with the referee reports? And what's the success factors? If you understand this, you're getting there, okay? What's a good paper and what's toilet paper? I get a lot of toilet paper. After all, I don't know of any editor who is not a successful academic. They are publishing themselves, they write papers, they do keynotes around the world, they do research applications, they teach their students, they've got their PhDs, they do keynotes around, they're doing all of those things. So, almost all the editors I know, I really respect them as scientists. I said almost, okay? But they know what's a toilet paper and what is a normal paper. And we know it quickly. First contribution to theory, universal truth. Is this something that has got application around the world? Over tourism, does it have application? No, there's no such thing as over-tourism. But the issue of overcrowding and what you do about it is universal. And we need to find things that they're not only in one specific location. Articles should be equally interested for readers in Romiri, the village of my mother, San Francisco, Sao Paulo, Aveiro, Accra, Xilocastro, Jyväskylä, Edinburgh, Yamoussoukro, Adana, Jakarta. Many of you have no idea where these places are. That's why I've put them there. I can do a test and you wouldn't know. Okay, and that is the acid test of universal truth. The same applies to the sectors, maybe across different sectors. The inside story. CSI confidential or whatever they call it. So a paper comes in, they have to meet someone. In tourism review, I'm that someone. In tourist management, the editor-in-chief is not reading the papers, there are other people who are doing that, and the NC is doing that afterwards. So different journals, they're doing it in different ways. I'd like to find someone who is the bad guy and understands very quickly and does the best rejection for me. I haven't managed to find anybody yet. So once we do that, we send them to referees. We normally send them to about 10, 12, 14 referees. I'll repeat this. I get the paper in. 65 goes goodbye. 35 is going to referees. I choose between 10 and 16 referees. Why do I choose so many? Because I want 4 or 5 on R1. Why do I want 4 or 5? Because then you've got lots of opinion, but also more importantly, the papers are going to go to R2, R3, and I need by the end to have 2 referees staying with me. A lot of people will do 1 review, you call them again, they say, oh, I'm very busy, I cannot do this. Okay, red flag, he's very busy. Okay? The maximum I've sent for 1 paper is, how many papers, how many referees have I invited? The maximum.
30.
Huh? 30. You're close.
34.
Go up?
50.
37. It's madness, isn't it? Okay, now you understand what the editor is doing. Okay? So, referees are not always right. They are usually referees are consultant to the editor. The editor makes decision. Okay? So sometimes the referees can be wonderful, sometimes the referees cannot be very wonderful. It's like you, sometimes you're sending wonderful things and sometimes not so wonderful. Ultimately the editor makes the decision. Okay? But if I get 3 referees that they come back and say reject, it will take a lot of persuasion to say, yeah, okay, give them a chance. And if all of them they say accept, again, I cannot say reject very easily. Okay, so there is a flow, you can see. When the worst thing is that you get reject, accept, revisions. Oh, great. Okay. But sometimes you get 3 rejects, 4 rejects, okay, goodbye. Sometimes you get 4 accepts. Okay, we'll look into this. This is not so automatically. But if it's 4 rejects, occasionally I'll say reject, and then I say, look, I can see value in this. Mixed use. I can see that this is a reject because you are confused. But I can see that if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, it may get an interesting paper because a new idea, and I'm going to send it to new referees when it comes back. I say new paper. Okay, that happens as well. So occasionally I'll desk reject or I'll reject afterwards, and I say, please come back, fix this, and come back, and we'll start the process again. Make sure that you make yourself a referee so you understand how the game operates. And work with colleagues to develop your papers, because it's always brilliant to have some critical colleagues who will give you some good feedback so you can fix that within a week rather than wait for 2 months to get the feedback, right? This is really, really interesting. So it works like that. Comes in, accepted, going for reviewing 35%, rejected 65%, 6%, 5% reject and resubmit. We're not going to do it at this form, but clear it, do this, do the other, come back. Okay? So 35% going to the refereeing. So out of the refereeing, another 20%. Can you see the numbers? So, submission, 60% goodbye, 5% goodbye, come back. Going to referees, 20% goodbye, end of. So I'm still left with 65 plus 20, I'm left with about 15, right? 15, 18%. Going to revision, and then we're going into this kind of loop. More revision, and more. Yes, you have done that, but you haven't done that. Yes, you have done that, but we need to do that and that and that. Normally, we're doing this 3 or 4 times into this review. In the last year, I've only accepted 2 papers on R1. They are very good papers. They came in. There are some suggestions. Bang, they've done it. R1, thank you very much. Normally, it goes here 3 or 4 times. And here the author says, oh, can I have a little bit of more time because I'm busy? Yeah? And then say, where's my paper? You remember when you took another 2 months? Now increasingly we don't give more time. We give 2 weeks and say, if you cannot do that in 2 weeks, because I've got a benchmark of 150 days. 150 days I need to have finished the story, the whole thing. 150 days I need to have finished everything with the paper. Normally I'm doing it, but there are still some papers I cannot do. Partly because with COVID, people had COVID, they had problems. Out of compassion you say, okay, can I have some more time? Yes, of course you can have some more time, but sometimes people just doing crazy things here. Now the other crazy thing that we see now, especially from some countries, is, yeah, I'm doing that, can I bring another 2 authors please? So now we've got the first time right policy. You cannot bring more authors. If you do bring another author, let's say that you've done structural equation modeling and you couldn't do it and you brought an expert, you need to really document in real detail what this other person has done. Recently I had one person who really wanted to bring 3 more authors. Then we discovered that this person is a serial killer. He has done that before in other papers. In other journals, because we see all the papers and the persons on the systems, right? So we don't only see what's happening in this review, because if I alert the editor and the ethics department, they're looking into the whole history of that person. So that person gets a red alert. So every time whatever it comes in says, oh, you remember this guy? We've seen him before. The amount of unethical behavior that we see right now is phenomenal. Okay, phenomenal. Anyway, this is going around here. Eventually, we'll get to acceptance. probably you get a letter from me saying minor revision. I'm willing to accept if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. You start celebrating. It has happened to you. You start celebrating before you get the last thing. So towards the end, we have got Chinese abstract, Spanish abstract. And we publish Chinese abstract, Spanish abstract. So this is the last point. We say to people, please find someone in your network, some of the people that they can do it. Otherwise, we will send to some of our translators who are academics, part of the editorial board, who are doing that. But again, that will take another month or 2 months, okay? So that is the process. Any questions on the process? Now, the clever thing to do for young academics is that you've got 2 or 3 papers on the pipeline, right? So that you're not only working on one paper, you've got 2 or 3 papers at different stages. It's like cooking. You're not cooking all the pasta first and the tomato sauce. You are doing things in parallel, okay? Not on the same topic, no salami slicing. Okay, we've seen this. Different things, but you're doing it in parallel. We know all the tricks. Okay? Be patient with the editor. I get emails. Why you haven't replied to my? Normally I don't so much because I'm super efficient. Sometimes I get, oh, you only looked in my face for 6 minutes. That was enough. But all the editors. First of all, the editor never sleeps. This is Fevzi has said that the first time. I've proved that. I've been editing the journal on planes, on airports, on wherever. Whenever you've got internet connection, I was in Greece for a cruise. For the first time in 6 years, I didn't touch the journal for 6 days. I came back to about 67 decisions. It took me 2 days to clear it. Okay. Why do I have this here? But that's my normal day. I wake up to this. 3 waiting, so this is 3 new that came overnight. 4 waiting to be assigned to associate editors. About 7% I'm the associate editor. I'm sending them to myself because that's the fastest way. If I send to some of my associate editors, it takes a lot of time. Some other associate editors are very, very efficient. 4 awaiting associate editor recommendation. Quite often I need to read what the reviewers are saying. So I've got 3 plus 4 plus 4, 11, and awaiting reviewer assignment 12. So I wake up to 12 papers. Now I take about 800 papers per year. Tourist management gets about 2,000, 2,400. Journal of Business Review is taking 6,000. Of course, they've got structures that they're dealing with these things, but this is what our life is about. I don't remember where I've got this, but how many reviewers do I need? I think I've covered this. This is my, we've invited 8 people, major review, decline, agreed but hasn't done it. Decline, invited response, never bothered to reply, reject and decline. I cannot see here how many days this has been, but all that I need to make sure that within 32 days you've got an answer, because ultimately this is what you're looking for, right? 12% get published, 88% get rejected. Goodbye. Oh no.
There was a time limit.
You rejected it already.
And now you were seeing my screen from this. Okay, I'm not gonna.
So if you do
If you want to join by
Let me do it. Yes, you need to do it from there. No, it's the number of the meeting, and the number of the meeting must be try this number 8407 8407 0224 765. Try ICTR 23.
Με κεφαλαία.
Ναι.
I,
CTR CTR 23. Μπήκαμε μέσα, αναπίστευτο. Έχουμε χάσει τον κόσμο, βεβαίως.
έχετε κάποια ενημέρωση σε εσάς?
Όχι. Όχι, γιατί εγώ είμαι participant. No?
Professor, may I ask you something?
You
Right
may
now
ask
or
me.
later on?
Just wait for a second, sir. We can concentrate.
You are working. Sorry, I thought it.
Just give me 1 second to see what we're going to do.
You are.
Waiting for the host to start the meeting. No, it's not going to happen because the host is not. She's upstairs or gone or whatever. Okay, I'll take questions until we fix it. And basically, you've seen quite a lot. So, what was the question?
My question is, we are from Czech Republic, and our government council, if you publish, like for articles, if you publish in the article, and it has to be good only if you have a high article influence score.
Hi.
If you have a high article influence score, which is one of
What's the high influence?
score like higher than the other ones.
I think it's
Impact-
impact factor.
impact
so-
factor.
Impact factor
It's
we're
the same
talking
like
about.
impact factor.
Okay.
It's one of the metrics of
Okay.
the journal. So now we will have a really good impact factor because I already found it here. And usually, if you got a good impact factor, then it's necessary to work for article influence score because probably in some countries, like my country is, it's the metric which is very important just for our articles, if you understand what I mean. And
I
my
don't,
question
but
is-
look,
I
every
don't-
country has got different things. So
My question is, if you have any strategy, how to get a higher article influence score? Because at this moment, if I see the journal, I can see it's under 1.
are you talking about the ABS list?
I am talking about additional metrics of your journal from the Clarivate.
Clarivate creates the impact factor. The impact factor is, if I remember well, is 769.
Yes.
So, and we're just waiting for the next one, which is going to be better than that. This is a very good impact factor,
It is.
and it's growing
I know.
dramatically. If they're looking at the ABS list, the Association of Business Schools, we're still one. And the reason is that the ABS has not updated the list. So we're still looking into the data from 2016. We are fighting with them, and this year they said that they're going to renew the list. We're also trying to improve in the Australian Dean's rankings. So the answer is yes, we are fighting with them. But again, you know, with the ABS, the journal was okay as 1 in 2016. Now it probably needs to be 3 with the numbers.
Yes, but it's not a metrics. But like I talked to you before, in Czech Republic, I don't know if it's in another country, we don't know how it is going. We do research, or the article is good ones, if there is good, what you have, like impact factor. But especially for the universities, for the researchers, they are looking for additional metrics, which is called article influence score, which is here.
Okay, if it's
Or also for national accreditation. And
if it is for the ABS, we've got a problem there because the ABS has not updated the list.
What is it?
The ABS is the Association of Business Schools in the UK. So they haven't updated the list, and we are talking to them about updating the list. That is for all the journals, not only for us.
But it's counting every year also, you know, it's
Look, I cannot do about the Czech Republic or any specific country, and I cannot deal with the administration of your university or for the ministry or wherever.
I understand. I
So-
just wanted to know if you
so
if
we
you
are
have
all-
any strategy for that.
The
because-
strategy is that this is what I was explaining all this time. The strategy is to create much better content, and that's why the journal is going like that. So the impact factor and the side score. The side score from 2016 to now has got an increase of 503%. Something.
I know, I can see it, it's,
Yeah.
it's to get in the metrics, but usually it's going like, when journal impact factor is going like this, usually the article influence score is going like that.
The article influence.
It's because of what does mean article influence score, you know, it's about the definition, how it's calculated. Probably therefore
I'm not sure
our-
what you mean, but for the journal to go like this, so 12.8 means that on average, each paper is cited 12.13 times almost.
I know.
Okay, so what's happening is that all the articles contribute to this, and we are monitoring which articles, what people would like to read, and
I just for to explain to you, probably you know journal tourism management, you know it.
yeah,
It's probably first or second one in the
Tourism management is
or
first,
second
yeah.
one. This journal has article influence score nearly 3,
okay.
which means it's again the first one. You know what I mean?
I
You
don't
are
know. I
not-
don't know. Just send me how they calculate this.
I
But
will
yeah,
explain it to you in the.
yeah, it's how they calculate that. But what we do is basically we are publishing better research, and that shows that on average,
It's, I would be happy if Czech Republic will use only impact factors, but they don't. Anyway, because I have some articles.
I'll be surprised if unless they're looking to the ABS list, which is out of date, and we're looking into that. And on that occasion, yes, we're Emerald is talking to the ABS, and when they issue the list, they'll need to re-evaluate all the journals. They haven't done it because we had REF in the UK. You know what REF is? The Research Assessment Exercise. So what happened is that they were not doing it because they will mess around the strategy that researchers and universities had. So now that this is gone, and now we're preparing for the next one, they're going to revise the list and the rankings of journals. Now, if you're talking about the ABS, I understand what you're saying. But if you're talking about some other index, I don't know. Let's have a look. You show me afterwards,
It's
okay?
just, I know, I understand you. It's just additional metrics, like probably 5-year impact factor or immediate index.
Look,
And it's written here how it
I've
is.
got enough managing to publish best research. I cannot go to 150 countries around the world and see what they're using. I mean, most of the countries are using impact factor, and they're using
Yes.
the side score,
Okay.
and all the other classifications
Mhm.
are based on these numbers.
And this is what it's not in Czech Republic because.
I'm
I
not sure.
remember-
You may be wrong, or we may not understand what's happening. Let's have a look on the detail, you know, at the granular level, because it will surprise me if the Czech Republic is doing something else.
It's not only Czech Republic, it's just additional metrics of the journal.
Yeah.
It's on a paragraph, it's written here. And if you will read or if you will talk what does mean, you will find out that it's important to get it.
Okay.
If you have a good impact factor, it's good to work on the end, or in the future, work to get a good article influence score, because It's cumulative size of site journal across the prior 5 years.
Look,
You know,
my
it's just-
advice is see what's your system and score in your system. So if your system says tourist management, publish in tourist management. I just,
We would like to have an article there
it's all right.
because it's a really good journal. I can see that.
It's all right.
But what is bad for us that we need to wait till probably into the future when we will have.
Or you can go back to
article.
whoever creates this this list and say, look, have a look on this and see what they have.
Yeah, that's the
Okay,
law in Czech.
other
So
questions?
therefore, we must have-
John?
I have two questions, dear Mr.
You
Professor.
can.
We are not out of time yet.
No. I said I'll be here until I smell barbecue outside.
First of all, it's almost like a magic you lifting up the journal from Q4 to Q1 in 4 years, so it's
Yeah.
nothing job really. So my question is, you emphasized a couple of times on how important, and that during your very quick look at the paper, that you focus on the innovativeness of the research problem, that you look at the topic and it has to be very new. But my question is, because it's so many journals, so many papers, etc., what is the magic or what is your secret recipe? Maybe if you can share privately within this group about defining the very interesting, let's say, hot and innovative research topics, because it's not so easy.
Look, COVID 3 years ago was super hot.
Yeah.
Now it's super cold.
And what is, for example, now?
AI right now,
Super-
clever AI, because I get a lot of rubbish AI, is super cool. Sustainability, I find, and there's also a general sustainable tourism. So if I want to avoid someone, I'll send them to the general sustainable tourism. Over tourism, if you send me a paper on over tourism, I look at it and I delete it immediately. Or I say, okay, what do they have to say that I haven't heard before? You know? And every editor has got some things that they like and some things that they don't like. We're all humans at the end of the day. But you know, you are looking for the trends, you are looking the clever things, you are looking, you know, mixed use properties. But you're looking, does it make sense? Yes, it is new. Let me look at it. Have I read it before? I was in Hong Kong last year, and I started seeing all these people having pets. And they were not pet owners, they are pet parents. They are expecting their pets to eat out of their plate, on their table, and all the rest of it. The other customers were going, yeah. They're fighting with the people in the hotel. So I got excited. We did a paper on pet tourism and what do you need to do in order that the pet is having a good time, the pet parent has got a good time, they are the customer. So I went to 7 hotels in Hong Kong. We talked to 25 managers, cleaners, housekeeping people to look into the whole ecosystem. For me, that is hot. What happened is that during COVID, a lot of people got dogs. A lot of people don't get married. They don't do kids. They do dogs. Okay. So I'll show you a paper. And they insist that they're gonna take the dog with them because it's a family member. Okay, the next customer comes in, they are allergic to dog fare and has got an anaphylactic reaction and they're suing me. Very interesting, you know, new. If I was saying to someone, you cannot bring your dog to my hotel, they say, okay. Now you say, how dare you, it's my baby. You know, they had all these prams and trolleys and they were carrying them and some clever guys, predictably people that they had pets themselves, they were so innovative. So one of the guys says, you know this mat that the dogs sleep? They say, look, dogs are very, very sensitive to smell. So if I give them somewhere where another 3 dogs have no, we finished with this because they, you know, that.
It just died, didn't it?
Yeah.
Are you
So-
okay otherwise?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks everyone.
All
See you
right.
later.
Bye-bye.
So they said if I give a dog to sleep in a place where 3 other dogs have slept, the dog is not happy. So he went to Shenzhen, he bought 2,000 of these things. He includes them in the price, he gives them a present when they leave. Clever.
I I may
You have a
second
dog?
question. Yes, I have a dog.
Okay.
I will show you the picture later.
All right.
Female dog.
Okay.
The second question is about the research methodologies.
Okay.
My idea or my observation is that maybe a lot of research paper from our geographical area, Central Europe, is dying and not being capable or qualitatively valuable enough to be published in a highly ranking journal because we are not updating with research methodologies. So, do you have any recommendations with regards to what you like to see within the research design, more the quantitative approach rather than qualitative methods employed, or you hate questionnaire, let's say data collection, or do you have any suggestions regarding?
In different journals have got different things. We're a little bit inclusive, so we don't have a specific methodology. There's some journals that they say, I'm not going to publish anything that there's got structural cohesion modeling. Some other journals, they focus more on quantitative,
Yeah.
not qualitative.
Yeah.
And that's why it's very, very important that you read the journal very, very much. So you understand what is the style of the journal, okay? In tourism review, we're privileged enough to be open and diverse and to look into different things. But the methodology needs to be clear, it needs to be correctly applied, needs to bring the results in, it needs to give the right kind of things. So I'm not quantitative. So if I've got something that's really quantitative, I've got two associate editors who are super quantitative, and I say to them, please have a look, make sure that the numbers are right, the method is right, and and I know what I know and what I don't know. Or I send it to one of the associate editors that they are more quantitative and some countries they are specializing on their researchers, and especially let me say that a lot of Asian countries and Spain, they are super quantitative. Spain is super quantitative as well. China is like that. So it's all about numbers. And when I get a paper with all about numbers, I say, okay, who's going to read this and what are they going to do? What does that mean, the numbers? Yes, it is statistically significant, but what does it mean? And that is make or break. Because the numbers may be right, but if they are not in the context to tell me to create policy, strategy, management, marketing, all the sustainable and all the rest of it, I cannot do. But some countries, Spain, I was very surprised. Spain is super quantitative. And I just got an Iranian colleague she came along and said, because I normally publish the big things, the big three, that's why I'm cited, because they're looking to the future and they're looking into big things. So she said, look, she did her PhD in North Cyprus and said, the only thing that we're looking at is the relationship. Do have a statistically significant relationship. The content didn't matter. It was only the relations. And she's surprised now. I'm looking more on the context. What does that mean? Is that useful for whom? Why? She was very surprised. But it's a cultural thing. And some countries are very... I find the Asians and the Chinese more prefer the quantitative because they can control if it's correct or not control. And they are afraid of losing face if they suggest something. So when I was working with Chinese colleagues, and I was saying we're going to suggest that and that and that on a paper, and they said, how do you know? I said, because I'm Buhalis and I know these things. I've been publishing them for a long time. And it took a while to be brave enough to actually do it. It's cultural. Some of the French have got anybody from France here. The French are very qualitative. To the point, what are you trying to say? Enough philosophizing. Vietnamese are somewhere in the middle. You've got a Vietnamese community now that's coming up quite strong in tourism. But their problem is to get out of the context. They're just looking to what they're looking, and they're trying to go a little bit up. But Vietnamese tourism research coming out, and I think I published a paper on, sometimes I publish a paper about tourism in one place, which is unusual to what I do. But I think now, either have published it or accepted it, or it's in R4 about tourism in Vietnam. I did one in Brazil that we got some like 20 Brazilians to talk about tourism, and they spent a lot of time, and we had a big fight with them because I really knew what I wanted to get out of them. Yeah.
about Greeks?
Greece, I'm trying to get some of the senior Greek professors who have been trying for 3 years to publish a paper, but it has never happened. Because everybody was busy that and the other, and the amazing thing is that we managed to agree on the principles, because Greek tourism is very, very interesting, and you can debate for a long time, and we got the right, because of the people who are involved in this, and their seniority, we got the line right of what we want to say, which is unusual for Greeks. If you've got 3 Greeks, you've got 25 opinions. But this time it worked, but nobody has actually sat down and do the work. They've done different bits, and I'm guilty as well, because I couldn't do from the beginning. I said, let me have a draft, and then I'll finish it off. I'm very good at finishing things off, because I can. We invited some more people. I haven't heard from them for a while.
I also have 2 questions. First question is related with what you said, following the example of what you said about the pets, and my idea is, or my question here is, sometimes there is a controversy or an issue because things that are very novel, maybe are not going to be cited at all. And the example is the pets. We are doing something about pet tourism. Who's going to cite it?
Lots of people.
Well, then maybe the editor think, okay, it's interesting, it's novel, but maybe there will not be many people doing pet tourism in the
Look,
future.
it's in the beginning. So I'm investing on this. I'm investing on that because it's in the beginning. If I write on sustainability, who's going to cite another sustainability paper?
But do you think that as an editor sometimes you receive something that is novel, but you decide not to publish because it's
No.
too novel?
No, if it's novel, I'll publish it. And if it's controversial, I may publish it with the opposite view as well. So let's say that I'm trying to think of one of the things. So the thing where I recently drew a line was something about the war in Ukraine, because it was political and had 2 different ways, and the paper was not smelling science, it was smelling frustration and politics, and based on that then publish it. But I've published papers on division and cross-cultural and Cyprus, not Cyprus, and I've done some clever things that I ask people that they are in conflict to work in each other's work and to improve on each other's work. And of course, it's a small community, so after a while you know exactly what's happening. But that was an interesting one, because one community was accusing the other community of doing something, and I said one of the reviewers was from the other community, specifically for that reason. So you can kind of see the different views. And I said reflect that, saying that, yeah, I believe that, but the other community believes that. So you can kind of...
Yeah, the second thing is something that has been also in this debate that has been in TriNet, and you already raised an issue about sustainability. I agree with your view about sustainability. However, I think that is not very fair, and it has happened to me recently, that the reviewer asked that you should delete all the papers from MBPI. I think that is not very fair to say that you should delete the references from an editor.
The reviewers are making suggestions, the editors make decisions. The problem we've got right now with open access is because it's open, especially if you're not in a good university and you don't have access to anything else. You only see that. So they said an issue about they're getting citations and they get impact factor that's not real. Number one. Number two is the quality of the research that they're publishing is not good. So if all your argument is based on this, then I'll say, oh, you haven't read the specialist journal. So it's a matter of judgment at some stage, and it's a matter of you. So it's like my students that are using internet sources because they can find them quickly and copy them quickly. So it's an element of, you know, what they say, what they say. You've got to make a judgment, and it smells after a while. The paper smells, you know. Either it's fresh or it smells bad. It's like the fish. I just put it on trying it recently, and Sarah sent me a very interesting comment with something. But you know, a good editor, it sees that. I mean, we are not only editors, we are researchers, we are publishing. You know, we've all been in this business for a long time. You see that immediately. It tells you.
But you also know that there are some countries in which they have published in the TI because it was fast and so on. And sometimes, I mean, now I would not recommend anyone to publish there, but sometimes you find also good research there.
Yeah, I'm not a prejudiced.
Nothing from NDP. I think it's.
I'm not a prejudiced. I'll look into it. Yeah, I'll look also who is publishing. Who are the people? And you know, some people have published some good things. I don't know, whatever. We'll look at that. But it's also a proportion. You know, you've got 2 out of 200. It's one thing. If you've got 200 and 2 extra, then it's another thing. But don't forget. So some of the slides that you didn't see was how you reply to reviewers. And that is really important. And one of the slides I had there was 32 pages of reply. The reply was 12,000 words, the article was 8,000 words. And it was all kind of point by point, I understand this, I accept this, I don't accept this, for this reason, that. So, doesn't surprise me if I've got about 3 pages of reply to each reviewer in Tourism Review. In the Journal of Product and Brand Management that Cleopatra is editing, she got a reply of 36 pages. And the paper got rejected. It happens. But look, nobody is trying to give the authors a bad time. It's an argument, it's a scientific argument. And if the argument is right, and you are reviewers, that's why you're doing that as well, so you're on the other side, right? If the argument is healthy and useful, you improve the paper. Sometimes a reviewer says, oh no, what I really want you to write is the paper I want you to write. But this is where a good editor intervenes and saying, no, this is not it is not within the scope of this research. You put it on the future research, extra things, whatever.
What would be your advice if you find some reviewer that is telling something that you don't agree? Really,
I don't
agree with that.
I have a very good friend who is in Austria, I'll say that. And he sent me a message and he says, I'm so frustrated. This is the paper of my lifetime. He did the second PhD, crazy, but you know, whatever. And he said, I think that this is the paper that expresses all my life. And this bastard, you know, and he was fighting. And he says, first he says, are you the reviewer? I said, no, I'm not the reviewer. Have you seen this paper? No, I haven't seen this paper. Then he says, he was arguing, and he was the last reviewer who was saying reject. The other 2 were saying accept. But for some reason, it was very close to his heart. And I said, okay, can you send me the paper and send me what you're saying? Send me what, I didn't really care about what the paper said. I said, send me what the reviewer is saying and send me what you're replying to the reviewer. So his reply was, it just reminded me something else I didn't show you there. In fact, I don't know if I can.
If you put HDMI,
Yeah, that's what they thought. I'm just, if it's funny, it's really funny what else. So I said, look, we're gonna do it in a different way. And so HDMI, where is it?
It's over there, on your right, on your left.
On my And what do I do next? I'm a technology guy, I don't know how to do it. So you need to select from there that you are looking at the HDMI. So the guy, so I said, look, you're arguing with the reviewer, the editor is the decision maker. Go back to the editor and say, I'm going to say to the editor that this is what it is, tell the reviewer, thank you very much, this is not what we're doing this, and θα το ρίξεις.
Είμαι σίγουρος.
Δεν είναι το φίλτρο που πατάς.
Μήπως είναι από το μελάκι. Όχι. Τότε είναι από αυτό της οθόνης, νομίζω. Δεν το ξέρω.
Μήπως μπορείς το κάνουμε με την οθόνη από τις settings.
Έχετε
Κομπή της οθόνης, αλλά δεν το βλέπω. Έχει επιλογή source.
Yeah. Is it remote? There is a remote there. No. There is a remote there.
This one.
Look at this. So, yeah.
Yes, that's it.
HDMI, yeah.
Yes, one.
Ναι, κάτι κάνει περίπου.
HDMI.
Τέλεια. Okay, guys, we've got it. Now you're gonna have another lecture for another 3 hours. That's great. That is wonderful. That is the worst discovery you can find. Huh? So 8, yeah. Don't get rejected. It's very easy to get rejected. Don't get rejected. What makes a good review? Something that's insightful, that it's helpful, it's giving good advice. So you remember what I said earlier on? The reviewer says, accept, reject, minor revision. What do I do?
Read them.
Huh?
Read the comments.
Read the comments. Sometimes I'm not going to say that very openly, but sometimes if one of the review is not very good, I don't include it on the letter. But this is the one I like. In the first version, the author used CBA and some of the relationships were not significant. I recommend that the results were not interesting. In the second version, the author used PLC, SIM, and now they significantly relations. It feels like the results have been manipulated. I do not appreciate that. So there is a bit that's confidential that the author does not see, that comes to me. So some of these, I send that to the authors. Some of it I don't. So normally the outcome is accept major or minor review, resubmit or reject. So the trick is not to get rejected. If you are not rejected, you are still in the race. Okay, so you really need to do everything not to get rejected. That's something that people do not understand. You need to argue with the reviewers, with the editor, not to get rejected. Because what you're doing is right. The editor will make the final decision based on the referee's reports. And try to do the editor's job easy. Please don't send 3 emails. Don't send 3 emails to the editor and say, oh, I know, but da, because the editor is traveling from one place to another. You've got, it is in the system. Do it. Okay, and respond fully to each of the referee's comments. Complete the arguments and everything. They often ask me, how do I deal with rejections? I still get rejected myself. Writer's tears. It's the best whiskey to deal with these things. Okay. You keep a couple of bottles for in case of emergency, you break the glass. I still do it. Please do not write as soon as you get a rejection or get a bad review. Do not go back and say, you so and so, how dare not to tell me how wonderful I am. How do you respond to the referee reviews? Read very carefully, take a week, reply to everything. I told you about 3 pages, 2 pages per referee report. And I told you about 32 pages response on the Journal of Product and Brand Management. 32 pages. The review, the text was 12,000 words. On the response, the text of the paper was 8,000 words. How not to respond to the referee's reports. So, the reviewer says, the article is full of wrong information. The history part makes no sense. The author jumped from in-room technologies to CRS and GDS. A lot of wrong information. Therefore, I recommend reject. The author replies, we believe reviewer 2 is not familiar with the hospitality technology development, so he or she has many misunderstandings about the context we present. However, we appreciate reviewer 2 contribution to improve the quality of our paper. And now the author is teaching the reviewer how to do it. In journal publication review process, we welcome discussions and ideas exchanged to enhance the paper quality. No paper is perfect at the beginning, and none of us is the smartest person in the world that knew everything. Maybe reviewer 2 is in a bad mood when he reviewed our paper. True story. What this person didn't know was that the reviewer was an editor in the Journal of... It was an expert. Has been writing books, had 30 years on this area. Okay? It was funny for a while. Sometimes life is getting funny. How do the editors decide? I told you. What is a well-run journal? That is my journal. When you see a lot of zeros, excuse me. When you see a lot of zeros there, it means that nothing is waiting. You know immediately that's a good journal. That's my favorite one. Generators of matrix algebras in dimension 2 and 3. It was admitted on 14 June 95. It was accepted on the 8th of May 2006. Wow, I cannot believe I actually wrote this. This is amazing. Just may have a bright future as a writer. This is an interesting one. Sir Peter Radcliffe won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2019 for the paper that was rejected in Nature in 5th of August 92. So sometimes editors get it wrong. Writing the success publication means that you have a well-designed original study to write about, select an appropriate outlet, knowing what you want to write clearly, make a story interesting, highlighting the significance of the results, responding carefully and positively to reviewers' reports, and make sure that all the experience is good. This is something that Sarah is about to publish, demystifying the journal review process and editor's observation. And she's talking about the last line there is going to be punished later on. Okay? So this is the myths that Sarah is saying. The editor does not like me. We don't like or dislike people. We are looking at the black and white piece of paper electronically. The journal editor reviewers have no memory. Yes, we know you. I have little memory, but I've got good flags and notes. So if there's something, and it's actually positive and negative. So if someone has been very useful, been very good, we know who these people are. And if someone has been really, really nasty in different situations, we also know. Publishing is buying a lottery ticket. No, it isn't. On a good journal, you know, if you're paying for it, okay. Editors want to reject manuscripts. No, we want to get the best manuscripts. We're fighting. We really fight with each other. No, I'll publish it. No, leave it alone, it's mine. If I can get away with it, it's okay. No, it is not. Because there is restriction, if you have done different things, unethical behavior. Touch wood, in tourism review, I never had to deal with any of this. I had a very, very close incident. A paper I published was also published more or less the same in another journal. Luckily, we published it 2 months before the other journal. So what happened is that the author sent the same more or less paper in 2 journals. It was a good paper that got published, but also they sent a similar good paper, very similar, to another journal. So I said, nothing to do with me, mate. I published first, I've got evidence, so it's your problem to sort it out. So the other editor still loves me for this. Having a senior co-author increases publication chances. That's another myth. A lot of people are asking me, can we put your name on it? I don't put my name on things that I do not work on. And quite often, you know, so someone said, can you help me with this? I said, yeah. I said, send me the paper, send me the Turnitin report. It was 80% similarity. I said, come on, it's 80% similarity. Say, don't worry, we'll fix this. Oh, yeah, okay. No. Once you have survived 1 round of review, the deal is done. That is not correct. I try not to reject, but yesterday I rejected the paper on R3. Sorry, it doesn't happen very often, but I rejected one yesterday in R3. The reviewers were telling me I had two rejects, one major revision. My 150 days budget was going, and I was not investing more in the paper. You have a question. You're shocked. It happens. It happens. Not usual, but it happens.
I have a question. Do you return with minor or major corrections? Okay, and then if you have given minor corrections to a paper, and then it returns with politically correct, not some answers that like the ones that we reviewed earlier. Is that a possibility to reject the paper?
It is unusual, but it is. Because every time you read the paper from the beginning. So they may have fixed things, but they may have done different things. You read the paper from the beginning. The reviewers are expected to read the paper from the beginning. It's unusual. It can happen.
Question for that, because you all the time repeat that the final decision for sure is from the Dimitrios point of view. The reviewers only help or recommend. But it is normal that, for example, you win the three accept of the three reviewers and finally the editor decides to reject.
Unusual, very unusual. It has happened to me once. So we had a paper that was going, I'm gonna say it was in Annals. The paper was going and we had 8 months or whatever, and then they said we're not gonna publish it. And I said, hold on a second, this is unethical, it's not good. And I said, tell me why. And then they came forward and they say, because of this and that and the other, and da 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 da. And I said, give us a chance to fix it, because you already have invested on that. So we did it, the paper got accepted eventually. It was all good discussion, but the process was not right. And I said, look, the process is not right. And I said, yes, the process is not right. And, you know, we're all friends. I said, okay, tell me what's your problem. And the problem is 1, 2, 3. Give us a chance to fix this. And of course, you know, for me, it doesn't matter now if I publish a paper in Annals or not, but some of the people who are there, they're depending on this. It happens unusually, especially normally people are good. And that explains why I make also a lot of the decisions myself. If you've got managing editors, different editors that they make decisions, sometimes you've got junior people who are looking into things that they don't really understand what the game is. It happens in some journals. Some journals, the editor-in-chief is not managing the journal. Okay. Some journals, the editor-in-chief is on top of this. So it's different settings. Okay. So download, read regularly, ask your students to read, review papers, submit papers, invite to support you. C'est ça. That's it. Finish. 7 o'clock. Barbecue.